The 40th annual San Diego Crew Classic. We're getting ready for the next exciting race, the Men's Collegiate Novice Grand Final, race number 91.
Event number 91, Men's Collegiate Novice 8 Grand Final. Lane 1, Orange Coast College. Lane 2, Stanford University. Lane 3, California.
Orange Coast
Lane
College.
4, Oregon State University.
Stanford
Lane
University.
5, Gonzaga University.
University of
Lane
California.
6, UC Santa Barbara.
Oregon State University. Gonzaga University. UC Santa Barbara. Attention! Go!
And there's the start. Event number 91, Men's Collegiate Novice 8 Grand Final. Cruise away cleanly. And right now, your early race leader in lane 3, University of California, followed by Stanford University, and in Orange Coast College in that third spot. Then it's Oregon State, Gonzaga, and UC Santa Barbara is the trailing crew. 250 meters down now, and the Golden Bears with a 6-seat advantage over Stanford University. Stanford with a 2-seat advantage over Orange Coast College. Quite a battle for that fourth spot between Oregon State in lane number 4 and Gonzaga, and the only one off the pace is UC Santa Barbara in lane 6.
Women's Collegiate Club Novice.
California now with almost open water over that second place crew from Stanford, but Orange Coast College powering right back in to challenge the Cardinal crew. Crew's now approaching the 500-meter mark. Your leader, lane number 3, the Golden Bears of California. 1 length over Stanford University. Stanford has about 6 seats over Orange Coast College. Then a tight boat race between Oregon State and Gonzaga, with UC Santa Barbara in that 6th position.
Men's Collegiate Novice Grand Final, event number 91. And checking our lane assignments quickly. Orange Coast College in lane number 1, Stanford in lane 2. The current leader is Cal in lane number 3, Oregon State in lane 4, Gonzaga in lane 5, and in lane number 6, University of California, Santa Barbara. And these crews are competing for the Guelker, the Derek Guelker Memorial Cup. And this is the Men's Collegiate Novice Grand Final.
So this again is a novice race. Certainly in the past, crews out of, for instance, Cal and Stanford, and to a certain extent Orange Coast, would have been fully freshman crews. That is, people who had rowed before in junior programs. But anybody not in those programs, they're likely to be genuine novices, never rowed before. However, the IRA used to have a rule that you couldn't row your freshmen up in varsity boats. That rule has now disappeared recently, which means that what Mary was talking about earlier in terms of elevating freshmen straight into the varsity squad has been happening in women's rowing, but it's likely to happen more and more in men's rowing now too, as they become eligible for rowing boats at the IRA championships. And what we're seeing at the moment is a very strong showing from the University of California novices. They're out in lane 3. They look like they are ahead of Stanford at this stage, with Stanford on the trail, and then on the outside Oregon State and Gonzaga, with University of California, Santa Barbara taking the back of the field at the moment.
Coming through the Ingram Street wind tunnel now, and it is becoming a factor as our wind is swung around from the west. Cal continues on the lead, and their inside shoreline shoulder would be Stanford, and then Orange Coast College. Orange Coast College beginning to fade just a little bit, and then to the outside, look at Oregon State being challenged by Gonzaga on the second echelon of this race, and the University of California, Santa Barbara. Once again, our leader is California.
Yes, it's not unusual for the University of California novice boat in this event to do a time which rivals their second or third varsities in other events, and even sometimes gets close to their varsity boat. Traditionally, University of California have always had a very, very strong and very well performed novice boat.
The wind is building, which means that crews have to be very careful of what they're doing around the back half of the stroke. They've got to have clean hands, smooth hands, fluid follow through to get right back over to get ready for that next blade entry.
California open water over Stanford as they have steadily increased their lead as they move down our 2,000 meter course here. Orange Coast College on the shoreline is also open water back. Have a little bit of a wrestle out there between Oregon State and Gonzaga, and one of the competitive natures of this crew racing is without regard to where you are, front or back of the pack, if you have somebody right next to you that is challenging you, generally they do step it up. So it might be interesting to watch Oregon State and Gonzaga at the back of this pack. The only crew that's really out of it right now is Santa Barbara. Back to our leader. This is California, and I believe that they have picked up the stroke just for drill. They've kicked it to 35, which is not that much, but they were cruising at like 32 before. Stanford, Orange Coast College, then Oregon State beginning to insert themselves back into it, and they've taken Gonzaga out of it. Santa Barbara is trailing. Lots of open water to Cal, back to Stanford. Stanford with open water to Orange Coast College, but Orange Coast College and Oregon State are now beginning to get into it. On the lead, it is Cal. Stanford now. Orange Coast College along the shoreline, and Oregon State is duking it out with Gonzaga trailing, and University of California, Santa Barbara at our finish line. And our unofficial winner is California. Stanford, unless something radical happens, will finish in that second position. And then looking at Orange Coast College, they did fight off a challenge by Oregon State, and they apparently will finish in third. Oregon State will be in fourth, Gonzaga, and then Santa Barbara. Once again, California is the winner in the Men's Collegiate Novice Grand Final, and they pick up the Derek Guelker Memorial Trophy.